Well, welcome back to the second half. If the first half didn't bore you, this guy sure will. This is old Baldy, Eric Bryant, we like to call Mr. Clean for short. Go ahead and grab your phrase there, my friend.
Okay, here we go. Bucket of chaos. Sure, God gave me a grandma and a grandfather, but what I really wanted was a Pontiac Grand Am.
All right. That begins the third quarter.
Well, I saw a funny tweet. I wonder if this might resonate with you as it did with me. My life is like a roller coaster. There's a lot of sitting down and screaming. Does that sound familiar? Have you ever been overwhelmed by life? Seriously, have there been moments when the conflict within and the circumstances around lead you to a place of hopelessness? I've been there. And what I've discovered, it's actually in our moments of most powerlessness that we have the opportunity to experience God's power. The scriptures say this: you see, at just the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. That's those that are far from God. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Now, the word sinners has been used and abused. It's actually trapped us in guilt and shame. It's that very word that may have kept you from believing in a loving God. That may be the very reason you're reticent to connect to church. Maybe you've even had this aversion to organized religion. Well, let me encourage you. You're at Gateway, and you're in a great place. We have never been accused of being organized. Or being religious, for that matter. But the word sinner is actually a hopeful word because Jesus came for sinners. He came for those of us with regret, those that have made mistakes, those that have missed the mark. And if you're here and you feel like I may be excluding you, no, you're with us too. If you're not sure whether or not you're a sinner, just ask the people that you came with. But let me just tell you, there is so much hope when we acknowledge that we need help. But we forget that. We try to act like we have it all together, but that can be exhausting, and everyone around us knows that we do not. So what do we do when we feel stuck, when we feel broken beyond repair, when we feel hopeless? I mean, sure, God gave me a grandma and grandfather, but what I really wanted was a Pontiac Grand Am. But when you're feeling hopeless, I want you to hold on to this amazing truth. The sun is still shining even on a cloudy day. The clouds may block the sun, but that does not mean the sun is not shining. See, God's love is like the sun, providing light and life and warmth. And no matter how cloudy or foggy things may be, just because you don't feel it does not mean it's not there. And when we don't sense that warmth, that light, that life, that gives us the opportunity to step into a realm of faith, a realm beyond what we can see and feel. You see, we will all face disappointment in life, and it's how we respond that will determine the type of person that we'll become. Are you giving up because of the cloudiness and the fog around you? Let me encourage you, choose hope even when you do not feel like it. And hope is not an abstract idea. Hope is a person, and his name is Jesus. See, God walked among us, and he taught with authority, and he brought healing to those who needed healing and forgiveness to those looking for forgiveness. And he willingly took upon himself the sin of all humanity, dying on the cross. But in rising from the dead, we discover that Jesus demonstrates a power greater than all hopelessness. The source of all hopelessness is our own sin and the sin of others. See, some of us are struggling with hopelessness because we're putting our hope in the wrong things. Listen to what this passage says in Psalm 33. No king is saved by the size of his army. No warrior escapes by his great strength. A horse is a vain hope for deliverance despite all its great strength that cannot save. The psalmist is trying to think of the strongest things he possibly could. And you may be thinking, well, I'm not putting my faith in an army or a warrior's strength, or certainly not a horse. But are you putting your hope in your bank account? Are you putting your hope in your career? Are you putting your hope in a relationship? Because when things do not go right, do you start to lose hope based on your circumstances? because nothing in this world can meet the eternal void that we feel within. But the one who is eternal can fill our deepest longings. Listen to the rest of this psalm. But the eyes of the Lord are on those who fear him, on those whose hope is in his unfailing love. So you can trust God even when you don't feel like it, for his love never fails us, even if we fail him. Paul was facing all sorts of obstacles, imprisoned, betrayed, on the brink of death, beaten, shipwrecked. And I want you to notice his eternal perspective in the midst of all of that. He writes these words, "The Lord will rescue me from every evil attack and will bring me safely to his heavenly kingdom." Now, I like the first part. God, deliver me from all the evil things that are happening. But he reminds us that there will be some things unresolved on this side of eternity. But the one who loves us will never fail us, and nothing can separate us from that living hope. So you and I can hope when things seem hopeless because God can do the impossible. One of the greatest spiritual mysteries that Jesus reveals is this: Christ in you, the hope of glory. See, when we say yes to Jesus, we are not only forgiven, we are not only given new life, a new leader, but he actually gives us the same power that rose Jesus from the dead. So you are stronger than you feel you are. You are more resilient than you think you are. And when you lose someone you love, you can entrust them to the one who willingly gave his life for us. When you have suffered abuse or oppression, you can rely on the one who was falsely accused, mocked, beaten, and on whose brow was shoved a crown of thorns. When we find ourselves stuck in addiction and mired in regret, we can look to the one who faced temptation and did not give in. When we find ourselves overwhelmed and overcome, we can look to the one who overcame sin and death, the one who lives within you. You see, hope lives in you.
The music, you're going to have to give me a Kleenex or I'm going to run my mascara.
Okay. We have a challenge on the field. Illegal emotion in the backfield. Using music to convey an emotion you cannot feel yourself because you're dead inside.
Yeah.
We'll have an official timeout while we review the play.